Thank you, David. Hi, everyone. I'm Preetha Pulusani. I'm the CEO and founder of DeepTarget, and I'm excited to welcome you to today's webinar. It's called The Pipeline, Digital Experience as Your Core Growth Engine.
Great. And I'm David Kingsbury. I'm the program director here at DeepTarget, and thank you guys for joining us so much. We know how valuable your time is, and but this is going to be really valuable to you. So we look forward to you guys learning as well as perhaps us learning as well as we go forward. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Preetha. Oh, I won't
Well,
turn it. Yes, of course. I'm sorry, my my mistake. A quick housekeeping. Make sure that you guys are all muted. And with that, however, we want your input. So there is a chat button, and you can press the chat button to send in a question or a comment at any time. And we're going to be monitoring those throughout the webinar. So we'll bring that back to your attention. So what we want you to do today is think of AI as the volume button, and that your questions and insights are really important because that's how we'll turn it up. Okay? So now over to you, Preetha. Oh, and that's
so go ahead, David.
yes, and that's me again. So sorry. So double digital first in today's digital first world, silence isn't just missed opportunity, it's money and services left on the table. Your account holders, as you know, are logging in every day. In fact, 53% of them log in daily, and 77% prefer digital banking over any other interaction with you. And if you're not sharing messages with them that are relevant, then you're not gaining their engagement. And account holders are actually drowning in generic messages, and they don't actually know who to trust, but they have needs, and you guys can fill them. Okay? So with that, Preetha.
Okay, so we're thrilled to be joined by a fantastic panel today. And I'd like to take this opportunity for you to meet the panelists. Phil Suckow is Director of Digital and Innovation at IncredibleBank. IncredibleBank is a forward-thinking community bank that is headquartered in Wisconsin. It's known for blending personalized service with digital innovation. And it has a bold vision to be America's most convenient bank. So they're consistently leading the way to delivering seamless and tech-enabled banking experiences. Then we have Mike Farley, who's the CMO of UnitedOne Credit Union. UnitedOne Credit Union serves members again across eastern Wisconsin, combining a strong community focus with a commitment to modern digital-first experiences. So with a dynamic marketing team at the helm, they're building stronger engagement across every channel. And finally, we have David Miles, who's the AVP of Marketing at Rio Grande Federal Credit Union. It's based in Albuquerque, and it's a mission-driven credit union focused on empowering its members with personalized service and accessible financial solutions, which means they've embraced data-driven marketing to deepen member relationships and to drive growth. So our panelists today each bring a very unique perspective on how to turn digital engagement into real growth, and you will see that really soon. So let's get right into it then, David. I'm turning it over back to you.
Thank you, Preetha. Great. And just as a reminder, your voice does matter. So as you hear the conversations going on, please use your chat panel to send us a message and keep the thoughts going. So don't be shy. Your insights really drive conversation. So the first discussion that we're going to have this morning, it really is all about one of the biggest shifts that we've seen is moving from traditional to which is batch and blast type of engagement to the hyper personalized experiences. And you can see the differences between these two ads. So really important, really impressive, these types of differences. And it's the difference between treating people like numbers or like important individuals you care about. And that difference really shows up in the results. So, with that, what you're doing is you're actually sitting on a gold mine. And we want you to remember that. So, let's dive into the first discussion we've got today, the untapped data dilemma. See, many, if not all, so many, if not all, FIs already have access to incredibly rich data, but the real question is whether it's being activated effectively. Most FIs have rich data but aren't monetizing it or making a good use of it. Let's bring in the panelists and see what they've learned. So the first question is going to go to Phil. So Phil, before implementing AI and data-driven targeting and personalization, how are you approaching digital communications and what were your pain points?
Thanks, David. I think pre-leveraging DeepTarget, a lot of ours was more broad brush to the masses. And so when we had a specific opportunity, it wasn't very targeted or driven down with data to determine maybe who's the right group to talk to. And so we lived in a little bit more of the broad brush. And then on top of that, we didn't really have a strong way to track success metrics. And so was this the directly or indirectly influenced by, we just kind of measured, okay, here's the time period of which, and here was the growth, but we didn't maybe have insight into which message, what channel did they receive this opportunity in, and did that get the customer to move?
That's right. Great comments, Phil. Perfect. So, David, now over to you. Can you share a specific example of how data-driven targeting changed your results compared to your previous approach?
Yeah, thank you, David. Well, the big thing is that we don't want to sell apples to someone who is looking for an orange, right? So we use the data to really understand our members and understand which of our products may add value to their lives, or which of our products they may be interested in trying out or applying for. A recent example of that is we did a credit card promotion through DeepTarget, and we really drilled down the targeting to make sure, number one, they didn't have an RGCU credit card already, because that would be redundant, and to also really pinpoint who would qualify for a credit card. I mean, things like credit scores and things like that. So having those personalized touches really adjust how we talk to our members and the way that we are able to reach our members and which ones we want to get to.
Great. Perfect. Thank you, David. All right. So over to you, Mike. So what was the aha moment when you first realized the difference between AI and data-driven targeting and personalization, and how and what difference that could make?
Yeah, thank you, David. The aha moment came pretty quickly. Within the first couple of months, as you're seeing the reporting and the ROI and the data come back. That's the beautiful thing about the data is you get that result, you can see it, and the effect that it has is very quick. So I would recommend to folks that it doesn't take too much to turn it on, to set it up, and the results you will see right away, even within your first few campaigns, that you're able to experience that growth and able to see that right there in the platform that you're making headway. So even with your first couple of campaigns, you'll have that aha moment that this is great. Now, how do we expand that? How do we build upon that? How do we deepen that? Yep.
Exactly. No, that's perfect. So great responses from everybody. So on to the next section.
Yeah. Just to comment on that, really, I think what you're saying is if that data just sits unused, it's not just a missed opportunity, it's also a hidden cost, of actually not leveraging it. And there's real revenue potential in data-driven engagement. And I think we'll be talking more about that with the panelists. So now let's shift to something every marketer is grappling with today. It's about privacy and personalization. So consumers expect that perfect balance. They want to be known, but they don't want to be watched. Um, And it's really a fine line between, wow, that's helpful, and yikes, that's creepy. And so I think this slide kind of captures that paradox really well. We all want Netflix level personalization, but bank level security. So, we need to figure out how to meet both those expectations at once. And that's where the challenge really lies. So if you could go to the next one, David. Here are some, good examples we've seen where the tone and timing of messaging makes all the difference, right? It's about intent and relevance. So done right, personalization builds trust and it opens the door to real engagement. So I want to turn once more to the panel to get their thoughts on this very real paradox. My first question is to David. So it's very simple, David. How are you personalizing communications today?
Oh, it's a great question, Preetha. Just technology in general now can be a little creepy. I mean, you say something and Alexis hears, and next thing you know, you get an ad immediately on your phone. So as a financial institution, we need to figure out a way to personalize our messaging without being intrusive. And I feel like the way that we do that is simple. And what you have on the slide we use a lot is just adding their first name to any message. And things like, Preetha, it's, your CD is about to mature. Maybe it's, time to auto renew, or is it time for a new car loan, David? Things like that. But we've also really just had some like cute and charming messages that aren't necessarily looking for a sell, but just letting our members know that we appreciate them. So just saying, Mike, thank you for being a member of RGCU, things like that. So the personalization can also be used, for specifics. I mean, I'm working with Jacob, our rep at DeepTarget, about getting our members specific rewards balance into an ad. So we could say like, Preetha, you have 10,000 reward points that haven't been redeemed yet. Take a look now, and then send them to our rewards page. So there's lots of personalization that we could use, and technology is leading the way in that.
Thank you, David. Isn't it? I mean, it's really interesting. First name seems like such a simple thing, but it does resonate when people see their first name on an ad. It does resonate that you are speaking to them, and especially if that message is relevant. So, thank you, David. So now to Phil. Phil, how do you balance delivering these personalized experiences that we're talking about while maintaining that customer trust and privacy? Because I do think this is a very important issue that everybody thinks about a lot.
One of the unique things that we've started to do is really part of our overall strategy on how do we blend physical and digital together. And so we've started using some of the opportunities that DeepTarget provides to how can we add or put the mortgage lender back in front of the customer that closed a mortgage on the anniversary of that closing, to kind of, again, bring that relationship together, but reintroduce the human through the digital channel? Or how can we introduce somebody that maybe is the relationship banker to support a niche market that we have of a digital customer group that maybe hasn't visited the branch, but we can maybe start to put the person in front of them that they know they're talking to behind online chat, but they now have that face and start to try and build that relationship.
That's awesome, because just introducing the human element into digital makes such a big difference. Thank you, Phil. My next question is to Mike. So Mike, what governance or approval processes have you put in place for AI-driven communications at UnitedOne?
Thank you, Preetha. Yeah, that's an important part, right? We're a highly regulated industry. compliance is important. You have to make sure that you have that in all of your messages and that we're being fair and open with the communications that we send out. So what we've been using at our credit union is we still use the human element to come into play for approval of all ads or ad creation. And although there may be AI elements within those, like adding a name or things like that, we make sure that the piece itself remains compliant and that there's always that human touch and that approval that comes from our team to make sure that each of those ads that are being delivered are compliant.
Great. Thank you, Mike. I think all of you have addressed, why personalization is so important, but also kind of balancing it with all of the other issues that a consumer might face as they're using, banking and digital banking particularly. Thank you. And now I'll turn it over to David again for the next major topic that we'll be talking about. David?
Great. Thank you, Preetha. Okay, so what about scaling and measurement? So let's talk about what all that means with your results. So the DeepTarget management report, you see an example of one here, shows a particular FI whose asset value is 417 million. They've actually generated over $37,000 in recurring estimated monthly revenue from the campaigns with the new account opens that have occurred across their product line. So that's pretty amazing, for sure. So based on what an FI of this size can do monthly is absolutely amazing. So I've got a set of questions here. Oh, and incidentally, this is not guessing. These are real numbers, actual opens, and we can, within the system, trace it all the way back to that individual, that account holder that opened that particular product and when they had their impressions and clicks all the way through the entire life cycle. So let's turn to the panel, ask a couple of questions. So the first one goes to you, Mike. How do you measure success beyond just revenue? For example, engagement, satisfaction, and retention.
Thank you, David. Yeah, I mean, we like to look right at that bottom line, that ROI. That is important, but there are other factors as well, right? When it comes to these campaigns and running them, and that's where DeepTarget with their reporting gives us some insight into that. So what we're able to track is the engagement and the statistics. What we really look for is that fatigue rate. So we all know that the more or the longer an ad is out there, the more people become eye blind to it. And so how do we keep that fresh and keeping an eye on those kind of things? Even with personalization, you need to make sure that the ads are being updated and that they're being relevant and double checking and triple checking that those are still on track and still pacing where you want them to be.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike. Yeah, this is pretty amazing here on this slide as well. The ROI, 15 times. So great that you're jumping right to the bottom line and these management reports are helping you. So perfect. So Phil, how do you measure outcomes and demonstrate the value of your digital initiatives?
Yeah, so we're at a unique stage where we're still focusing on what is the baseline that growth looks like. Because what we've seen is month over month growth can be is still trending at double digits. And so that's a really exciting place to be at. But really, we need to have the amount of data to be able to start to create the real forecast, to be able to create what do those KPIs and ROIs look like. But from what we're seeing is the ads that we're running, each ad is effectively creating its own ROI on the time and energy we've spent on that unique ad. And so even looking at it all the way down to the individual level, because we're focusing on a long list of all the opportunities that we want to get more segmented on, we're really excited to be able to now track it all the way down to that individual performance and determine, is that individual ad driving an ROI that we had anticipated that it was going to do.
Wow, that's awesome. Good. So thank you, Phil. So now, David, can you share some specific results you've seen and what surprised you about the outcomes?
Yeah, well, We pull that monthly management report. I mean, we get it every month. We go through all of the data to see, if our ads are working or not, like Phil said, and we could do some A/B testing and maybe mess around with the messaging, mess around with the pictures, and see what works and what doesn't. But the influence sales conversion report, I was telling Preetha and David before we jumped on that I visit that each morning, and it shows exactly which members opened up accounts that day, and it also shows how many impressions that the ad that you sent them was viewed. So you can reasonably assume that if they viewed an ad 100 times and they opened up a new auto loan based on that ad, that we had some influence in them coming into our credit union and opening up a loan.
That's exactly right. Well, great. So, as you guys know, DeepTarget has multiple ways to show results all the way through the process. And it's really exciting that you guys are also thinking beyond just the normal number crunching. It's actually, a feeling from your customer base if they're happy with you. So, great results, great stuff. So, over to you, Preetha.
Yeah. So actually, this brings us to our last discussion topic, and it's really how do you make this kind of growth sustainable? It's not just about isolated campaigns. It's about really building a repeatable, scalable engine, a system that works in the background to keep growing your business, not just your business, but to keep growing engagement, to grow loyalty and retention of your account holders. So I have the same questions that I will ask all of our panelists. So I'll start with Mike on this question. Given all of the possibilities available to you, what you've learned so far, what are your objectives for next year? And based on that, what are your priorities as well that you're looking at for UnitedOne?
Yes, our objectives and priorities are to continue to embrace the technology and the information that we glean from that to improve our communications with members, to make sure that we're making those personal connections, and that we're coming across no longer just guessing at what they might want or trying to decide what the credit union needs and forcing that, and instead getting in tune with what are our members looking for? What does the data tell us? What does it reveal so that we can present to them a message that is relevant to them in their journey and their life journey at that moment, and so that we can have better success and a better ROI through those connections. So I know we've shared before earlier when the panel met in a kind of a practice session to discuss things. And so I just want to thank Phil and David for being on the call, and Preetha and David for having me be on the panel. It's been exciting. So if there's one thing I could impart to the viewers today is that, marketing used to be an art form, right? We were just out there trying to make things work. And as Phil mentioned earlier, that broad brush approach, but we're really starting to add the science to things now. So our element is still a little bit there, but we're pulling back the fog of marketing and really able to see who is there and how do we target them, and that secret sauce that it takes to reach the right person at the right time. And with DeepTarget, we find that that's a really easy entry tool for us to reach out to our members while they're in a tool that they use basically every day with digital banking.
Yeah. Thank you, Mike. I mean, you're kind of combining all of the data that you have and then using the real estate of your digital banking so effectively. So that's great. I have the same question for David. David at Rio Grande, I'm just curious, what are your objectives for the coming year? What are your priorities? What are you guys looking at doing?
Yeah, great. And that was an awesome answer, Mike. Really, I like that we used to be an art form. But I do think of DeepTarget as really having a gym membership. You see results the more work you put into it, right? So what our priorities is going to be moving forward is just having more campaigns that are better targeted for our members, and really just fine tuning, how we're communicating with our members and how we're reaching the members that we want to reach.
Okay, so you just gave me a new slogan, a new marketing slogan for us to use. DeepTarget is just like a gym membership.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah,
remember,
definitely
don't
use it.
sign on to it at the beginning of the year and then forget about it.
Yeah.
But I hear you. I mean, we have many financial institutions who are running, 35 campaigns at any one time and getting some great results. Thank you, David, for that. Phil, so same question, objectives and priorities for the coming year.
Yeah, so our big focus is really how do we continue to double down on an always on and segmented approach. And so what we know is that a lot of our customers are engaging digitally with us after hours when our sales team has gone home and are sleeping. So how do we leverage the data segmentation and this channel to be always on and presenting something to them while the rest of the bank might be gone? And so that's really our strategy on how do we take what we're doing, continue to learn and refine, and ultimately double down on that through this channel and through others to be able to get to that more personalized, always on approach.
Awesome.
That's great, Phil. Thank you, Phil, for that. And I have one more question really for all of the panelists. And it's really to the question, and Phil, I'll start with you on this. How do you ensure that your bank leadership is aligned with your plans? I mean, you're the director of innovation and digital. So how do you get that alignment?
So the benefit I have is having been with the organization for a long time and working closely across the organization. One of the great focuses that we have is how do we, as an organization, find an opportunity, and once we see traction, allocate the resources there. And so really a lot of my role is creating that feedback loop to be that microphone and speaker to the executive leadership of, hey, we're seeing good traction over here. How do we apply the additional time, energy, and resources to accelerate those opportunities and capitalize on them to be able to help grow the bank?
Okay. And just having that feedback loop, have you received any, tough questions on the data that you've presented, for example?
We have a phenomenal leadership team that will definitely dig into data. And I think our director of business intelligence would echo my comment that at the end of the day, it's showing that this is all influenced. That the importance of this is it might not have been this that was the final opportunity, but our strategy of blending the digital and physical together, the data allows us to have an indicator that the channel is contributing to the success, which I think from some of the things that Mike even mentioned earlier has been a challenge in the industry before. So this is helping create the proof in the pudding that the channel is successful at influencing the customers to deepen their relationship.
Great. Thank you, Phil, for that. Mike, over to you. How do you ensure at UnitedOne that your leadership is aligned with your plans?
Yes, I agree with Phil. We have a leadership team that's also has the analytics are key. So if we can bring back numbers, like we were sharing earlier, it's no longer just a guess or a spray and pray method. You can come back and you can show the results in the numbers and the reporting that you can get out of the platform to say, this is what's working, this is what is kind of working, but we just need to tweak it or improve, or maybe even some areas that might indicate we think they want something, but they're telling us what they want. And taking that lead, and that can take a bit of time to learn and come around to, is that the members are really leading that direction of telling us what they want and how we were able to target to them. And that can help us as we make those leadership decisions, what programs or platforms or products or services we'll introduce as we move forward into the future, is looking at that data to make those bigger decisions, to make the impactful additions to our product offerings.
And do you do this, Mike? I was just wondering, do you do this like on a quarterly basis? Is that how often you kind of have those kind of discussions?
Yeah, yeah, we have rallies that we have each quarter, and then of course there's the big annual one that we do where we're really talking about, our 3-year plan and what's a part of that mix and how we can move things forward. And that's where we share a lot of the results that we're getting and the analytics that we're seeing in our member data.
Okay. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. And then moving on, David, I would like to ask you the same question. How is it at Rio Grande in working with the leadership, and what you're doing within marketing and digital, and how aligned are they with your plans?
Yeah, leadership has fully bought into what we're doing with DeepTarget. And what Mike and Phil said, it's really, the proof is in the pudding, and it's about showing them data that has the ROI and backs results. And I will say that, all of leadership, we're all members of Rio Grande Credit Union. So when they bank, when they open up their app, they see all the ads. So sometimes I get real feedback from, my VP and our CEO, and they say, "Hey, I really like this ad." Or, "Hey, this ad isn't great. Why don't you change it up?" Or things like that. But I think it's just all about communication, and it's all about, just showing results and making sure that everyone is on the same page.
Thank you. Thank you. That was really, really insightful to just kind of know what you're doing and what your priorities are going up. And it sounds very much like all of you are just kind of building on the progress that you've already made and just trying to keep this sustaining and continuing to grow. So that's great to hear. David?
Great. Okay. So with DeepTarget, you can always have always on growth engine. So it's really important for you guys to realize, and I think it was mentioned by some of the guys earlier, that when we mean engagement, that's intelligent, consistent, built into the digital experience engagement. DeepTarget's intelligent platform is a continuous, self-running, data-driven. As the data beneath changes, then also your engagement, the relevancy will change to the benefit of your customers and members. So we're always on to help the community and with your growth. AI helps you be smarter over time, always adjusting and learning and improving with every interaction. So we're so excited about the power that's behind DeepTarget and the digital experience that's going on for you, for your benefit. And we're real excited about what you guys have been saying here today about how it's been so valuable for you. So with that, I'll turn it back over to you, Preetha.
Yeah, I think one of the things that's important is, it helps to have a data science team, but not everybody can afford to have a data science team. So you can get to one-on-one personalization without all the heavy lifting, because the platform makes it possible. It's like flipping a switch from generic messaging to using the data so that the messaging actually is relevant and converts. And that's what the AI Copilot is. It works alongside the teams, not replacing them, but helping them with personalizing all of these communications at scale, without the stress, without complex coding, without all of that in-house data science necessarily required. So David, if you can move to the next one. So what you see here are some examples of these very personalized messages. So we kind of flip the script on traditional marketing, right? So by combining your data with, AI and managed services, we are able to deliver these hyper-personalized campaigns, not creepy ones, but ones that are welcomed by the account holders that drive measurable growth. And so the key is to be able to leverage your data and to do this at scale without a lot of heavy lifting. And that's what makes it so magical.
Awesome.
Go ahead, David.
Okay, great. So as you guys know, all the innovative FIs, like the ones you just listened to here today, are actually implementing, researching, and working with AI. And if you guys aren't, then you're going to start falling behind. And you know that already. And that's why we're here to help you with that, to help break through all of the nuances of AI and the capabilities of data-driven personalization. So it's really important that you guys be reviewing this technology, and we're going to help you do that. So we've got a risk-free money-back guarantee. You can count on DeepTarget being the safe and proven way to catch up, and even to maybe even leapfrog certainly your results from the past. So don't hesitate. Reach out to us. Let us know how we can help. Okay. And we promised we'd look at chat for a minute. And although there's some chats, the one that I want to grab real quick is one that's for Phil. So it asks to Phil, so what is your immediate focus right now? Phil?
Yeah, so right now, one of the things we're really focused on is how do we take the engagement that we're seeing inside DeepTarget and pipe that over to our CRM to be able to leverage now the physical and human channel to help close leads. And so we've already started doing some of that ourselves, and we've seen significant success on some of those opportunities of engagement in digital being given to our sales team, and them then being able to move them down to the finish line of the sales funnel. And really the partnership with DeepTarget, being able to now build an automated way to achieve this for campaigns that we would choose are highly relevant to our salespeople, to be able to just ultimately bring that digital and physical together, but in a way that, hey, you engage with us digitally. Now we're going to bring the human element to you. And so just the same thing we were doing, but in reverse.
Perfect. Perfect. So closing that loop, just reminding everybody, certainly we track impressions, clicks, all the way through the engagement process. But as Phil said, following up on those clicks is really key, and having an automated process for that to occur. And we're adding some things in DeepTarget, which are pretty cool with our new drip campaigns. I'll just throw that out there, that are really impressive. But getting all the way through so that you can follow up is really key. So perfect. Thank you guys for that. And over to Preetha for the final wrap up.
Yeah. So I guess I'd like to wrap up with this. Your digital real estate is so valuable. It's your asset, it's your resource. And if you're not using it, it's really underutilized, and you're leaving more than money on the table. You're leaving your account holder relationships on the table. So we'd love to help you unlock it with an AI-powered strategy that drives growth. It's proven to drive growth. Today, I'd like to also give a big thanks to our wonderful panelists and to all of you for being here. We'll follow up soon with the recording and more resources. And if you have any other unanswered questions, please do drop us an email, even drop it in the chat if you haven't already. And I'd like to thank you for joining us today. Let's turn up the volume and keep this conversation going. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.